what you've been seeing and hearing is what I refer to as private-public partnerships. And I intentionally flip that well-worn phrase. This is led by the private sector. The public sector certainly has a role to play, but all this innovation, all these fabulous ideas that the last hour you've been drinking from a fire hose is all private sector generated. And much of it, the majority of it, is private sector paid for as well. So that's one of the real revolutionary things that I hope you will hear coming out of today. And Paul is part of that. And Paul, with Metrobike, has been involved with a capital bike share. You heard from Gabe earlier today, Gabe Klein, about that. That biking is obviously one of a number of different transportation modes, but it's the one that is the cheapest way to get the most bang for your buck. It just uses, at its simplest, paint to create tremendous capacity that could be anywhere from 10, 15, 20, even 25% of total mode split could be bicycle. And Paul is going to help us understand how we get there from here. Paul DeMaio.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. So I'm Paul DeMaio with Metrobike, as Chris mentioned. I got interested in bike sharing in 1995. I was working as a computer lab geek. Seems to run in the family here, Tom. And came across, I was Yahooing, if anybody remembers that. I came across a couple images. It was a very basic website, white screen, couple photographs of what was going on in Copenhagen at that time, called Busyklin, or city bikes. Partner, and we found a wonderful partner with the Crystal City bid, plug, 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 and they matched the money that we got from the state. This was something that wasn't being done in the U.S. At the time, other than Smart Bike DC, which was a very small implementation of a bike sharing system with about 120 bikes. And it was also done by an outdoor advertising company, so it was a very different model than what we have today with the private-public partnership that Chris mentioned. So with the county, being a consultant to the county, we figured out how we can make this program work, how we can cobble together some funding from a variety of sources and actually get a sufficient number of stations out there, all based in Crystal City and Pentagon City, so that we could have a regional system with DC. And that was really the goal, because we knew if we were to go on our own and have our own technology, our own equipment, just in Arlington, that would be different from DC. That would mean you have to ride to the bridge, change bikes, and then go across. And that doesn't make for a good transit system. It needs to be compatible and work in this region that we live in. So so bike share. Okay, so of course for bike share, you need safe places to ride. And what the DC region has been experimenting with over the past couple of years is something that actually was brought down, I believe, from Montreal. We use a Quebecois-based bike share technology, and they use this type of bike lane up there. So this was brought down in roughly the same 2007, 2008, 2009 period. This is what's called a protected bike lane, and it's a physically separated bike lane from other modes of travel. It's so safe that you'll see in this picture, which is taken on 15th Street Northwest here in DC, that it's so safe that no one or very few people are wearing a helmet, because you just don't feel like you need to. If you're riding in other places of downtown DC or Arlington, with traffic, it can be a harrowing experience. It's been improving for sure. But here, look at this. I mean, you have individuals in dress clothes, no helmet, with shopping or a briefcase, whatever, just getting around. It's something. It's become so easy to do when you have safe places that you can ride. And low stress, I should point out, very low stress. So the next item is bike culture. Bike culture is a variety of things. It's inclusive of all groups. It is fun. It's being able to live life with doing your chores, getting around, visiting people, bringing your family with you. It's what happens when people can hop on their bike and go. That is what bike culture is. And in this region, we've seen a wonderful growth in bike culture. I remember not that many years ago when I'd be out riding, if I would see another cyclist on the street, I would wave, because there was a good chance that I knew him or her. But now there's so many people that I don't even try anymore. It's wonderful. It used to be about 1% of all modes, 1% of all trips were done by bike. And now it's, in DC, I think it's about 3.5% to 4% of all trips. And it's growing as there are more safe places to ride and people taking this up. Another thing to point out is a lot of folks these days, especially of millennials and Gen X, don't want to own a car. It is a hassle. It's a liability. It's not a good thing to do. It's something that it's like I said, it's expensive. The purchasing the car, insuring the car, gas. Operating and maintaining that vehicle is very expensive. We just want to get there. We just want to be there. We don't want to have to worry about these things. So being able to simply hop on a bike share bike and get from here to there with my $85 annual membership. All trips under 30 minutes are free. That's an economical choice. And especially with a lot of Gen X and millennials living in the city and in Arlington, in the inner suburbs, we don't want to have to worry about parking. We don't have to worry about losing our car because we don't remember where we parked it, which a lot of neighborhoods, the parking demand is so high you don't know where the car is necessarily. So just being able to not have to think about it, use a bike, it's a good thing and makes it easy. Bike sharing makes it very easy. So the next couple of slides, I just wanted to show what bike sharing trips look like. These are some trips done, data visualizations done by a guy named Michael Shade, who has done work for the Mobility Lab. With Capital Bike Share, we provide our trip data for free to the public, and we get some really amazing things in how the public analyzes the data. And what this shows, what this graph here shows is trips starting at the Courthouse Metro in Arlington, where the trips are going. And you can see the thickness of the arrow represents the percentage of those trips that are made from that origin. So the two thicker, or I guess maybe three thicker arrows are showing about a half-mile distance, and that's perfect for bike share. Bike share is, as I mentioned previously, bike share is perfect for short trips, usually about I think it's about 1.8 miles is the average trip length for bike share. Great for going within a TOD or from TOD to TOD, which is what we have in Arlington. So these trips here are going from, usually people may be arriving at the Courthouse Metro and then going home. There's a lot of density in Lee Highway, which is the corridor just to the north of the Roslyn-Ballston corridor. And it's people who maybe don't want to wait for the bus, or maybe took the bus in the morning, and it's simply easy to hop on a bike share bike because they don't have to wait anymore. The bike share station is right there at the metro station. They hop on the bike, and then they head to where they need to go and drop off the bike there. So it's perfect for getting around in TODs. I should also mention that bike share stations, in addition to the Crystal City bid, the bike share, the Ballston bid has also sponsored a station at the Ballston Metro, and developers are wonderful as well, including the Chevy Chase Land Company, for sponsoring a station in Montgomery County, Maryland. We couldn't do this without the bids and the developers and others. Stations, just for your information, stations can cost anywhere between maybe $38,000 to maybe $60,000 based on the number of docks, and that comes with bikes. And then for operating and maintenance, the cost is, it can vary based on the jurisdiction, but the cost can be about, for the case of Arlington, is about $113 per dock per month. And that's all inclusive of rebalancing the bikes when the stations become full or empty. That's maintaining the bikes to make sure they're functioning safely, as well as a call center. So it's all inclusive of those tasks. But as you can see, it can add up. It's less expensive than other modes of transit, but nonetheless, as bike transit, it can be expensive for a local government that doesn't presently offer the service. Here's another. This is another starburst, and this is showing trips to the Courthouse Metro. Won't use that word so close to the mic. To the Courthouse Metro, again, trips are about a half mile, maybe a little bit further. And, people coming from all around going to the metro there. And this is another location. Now, this one is along Columbia Pike, which is a densifying corridor with no immediate metro rail access. It's about a mile and a half from, I would say, both the Roslyn-Ballston corridor as well as the Crystal City, Pentagon City corridor. And what folks are doing here is they're going to the corridor by bike so that they can simply, go to the metro or go shopping, go out to dinner and whatnot, visit folks. So bike sharing has been really convenient for folks making these types of trips. And well, as I mentioned before, people, when they use bike share, they have to have safe places to ride. So being able to get around within a TOD and amongst TODs is very important. Protected bike lanes is the way to do it, much more so, I would say, than any other bike facility that we have. So anyway, thank you so much.